studies and Bible studies, etc., was that, hey, you can't force somebody to accept any religion, any faith.
Yeah, no, absolutely not.
And specifically Christianity, it's like, God's going to come for you when it's time.
Right.
And unfortunately for a lot of people, that means you're going to get battered down and beaten down to the point where you say, okay, I guess I'm going to open that door. And that's what I had to do. I had like 3 people died, really close together, and it just kind of just brought me down in kind of a depression and a period of my life when I was finally open to actually looking for someone else for help. And I've been pretty much, I'll do it, pull myself up by bootstraps kind of guy. And and for a lot of people that has to happen. So I'm not here to push anyone through that door. I'm here to just show them what the story's all about if they've never come across it. And really, I'm writing for who I was when I was a teen and in my 20s. It's somebody who loved reading comics, wouldn't pick up a Bible to save my life, but if you can show me a good story, I'd give it a read.
Right.
And who knows?
Real quick, give us a synopsis of Eyewitness.
Modern day action adventure story kind of wraps around the biblical adaptation I'm talking about, and it kind of all gets triggered by my protagonist is a forensic archaeologist who's really a metaphor for me. He's a lifelong skeptic, has actually made discoveries to prove a lot of the events in the Bible, but he's never been able to find that piece of evidence that would have him as a man of science embrace faith. So we kind of set that up early in the book, and he's called to Jerusalem to decipher a scroll that's been found underneath the foundation, and no one else can figure it out, and they call in the hired gun, Dr. Terry Harper, and he ends up having the code for this in his notes, and as he kind of deciphers it, it plays out in kind of what I call a Titanic kind of moment where the story then plays out for all these scientists that he's with, and then you see the story of the Passion play out in the first book. And afterwards it's revealed that this is a objective third-party accounting of Jesus' Passion, and not written by one of his apostles or disciples, chronicled by somebody who is given the job to gather information to be used for Jesus at his trials. So what it is, it's written in the original person's hand, not a translation of a translation handed out over decades, but the original manuscript of this. And so it's incredibly corroborative evidence for the Gospels, and also historical, since it is original and it's not legend, it's somebody actually reporting the events. And so Dr. Harper wants to take this stuff public and let the world know about this, because not only does it spark his faith in him, but he wants to share it with the world. And there's various sources out there that don't want that to happen, and they'll go to any lengths to prevent him from doing that. And so that kind of kicks off what's going to happen in the next couple books. To whether he will or not be able to do that will finally be decided by the end of the series in the 4th book.
Okay. And
in a nutshell, it's really a story of this man of skepticism eventually embracing faith, and then finding out he's destined to be actually a pretty powerful tool for God in the long run.
So, who, and I don't want the answer that I know you give me, who besides God and besides Christ would you say in your art form would be your biggest influence? Do you think? Like when I said that, what came to mind right away?
Yeah, well, I get asked this question because people try to pigeonhole my art because it's really kind of unique, but it's I think it's really a melding of Kirby influence from when I was a young boy, John Byrne. You see a lot of Byrne in my layouts. Frank Miller, of course, a little bit of Will Eisner.
Are you a Spirit fan?
Nah, just kind of in passing. I'm more of a fan of Will Eisner's graphic novel things he's done, and some of the more non-traditional, non-superhero things.
I love the Spirit. I'm not a big Spirit fan. But
I've kind of just hit them now and then. We'll pick up one of the collections and look through it. Right. But I was never like a diehard. But I really became a fan of his, like picking up Contract with God, and actually some of his books about the art form, like sequential storytelling and things like that. And I've used those as reference books a lot, and kind of constructing my stories to make sure they work best. Gil Kane's another artistic influence on me. Alan Moore for stories. Probably a couple other writers. Neil Gaiman, kind of, sorta, just as an inspiration for what you can do with fantasy. He's a wonderful mixture of genres and things. When you look at, like, for example, Sandman, elements of fantasy, elements of classic literature, Shakespeare, elements of religion and religious legend, and even contemporary things, and mixing those all up, to produce wonderful narratives. And that's really, I'm doing something that's so unique. When I explain to people, they look at me kind of with a raised eyebrow. Action thriller and a biblical adaptation. Well, yeah, why not? And it's just, you look at Gaiman, and he's proven that, hey, you can, there's pretty much, you can do everything. Like the movie Stardust, or if you read the graphic novel Stardust, look at that. A great mix of kind of a couple different genres, and produces a wonderful story. And so that's where he influences me, that kind of like the sky's the limits, and don't restrict yourself to what's been done, but kind of go outside the box and make a new path. And that's definitely what I'm trying to do with this series.
Have you shot any of this stuff out to any of the, like, Christian producers, or like guys that do the movies, like Generation, or?
No, I haven't farmed it at all, or I haven't pursued that at all. I have been approached by some people, the last couple of years, but nothing really of a serious nature has come of it. A lot of kind of just probing me, I think, and then talking about doing anything, but nothing ever in black and white came by snail mail or email. So until it does, I've been in business long enough for myself to know, don't get too excited about anything till you see it in black and white. A lot of people look at my stuff and say, oh, this would make a perfect movie, or this would make a perfect animated thing. And it's like, yeah, it would, but that's not where my experiences lie. So if I do that, it would be something where I would give it or sell the rights to somebody else to do it. I'd maybe want a piece of it to make sure it didn't get corrupted too badly.
There's no maybe to that, man.
Yeah, I just read a story about that. Who was it? Somebody talked about that. Was it a comic or a novelist? A novelist, Ted Decker, about the movie coming out, House, that he corroborated with Frank Pirelli, and that the movie evidently is getting an R rating, and a lot of Christians aren't happy about that. It's Christian-based fiction. And he's actually the executive producer on there, and I saw somebody do an interview on them. He goes, well, I had some input, but for the most part the story was theirs, and I'm letting the movie people make the movie. And and that's always a danger when you talk to comic people. Frank Miller used to be really vocal about that in his first go-around with Hollywood when he did RoboCop 2. And
James O'Barr.
The Crow, man. Alan Moore, incredibly vocal about his properties getting made, and won't even allow his name on these things because DC actually owns the rights, and so they're doing it without him. And but that's not that entertained. But right now, I'm really called to just get this series out, and I got 2 more years to complete that, and then we'll kind of see where it goes from there. As far as other development opportunities.
So where would we find info here?
Well, get it on the website, which is headpress.info. Now, the books are available in virtually anybody who sells comics and books around the country, because all the distributors, book trade and comic distributors, have them. So, in essence, anyone can order them if they don't have them in stock. And if your local store won't cooperate with that, once again, you can go to the website, headpress.info, or Amazon, or Barnes & Noble, or Borders, or Target, or Walmart. All the major booksellers all have it in their online stores.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much. And is there anything you want to say in closing real quick?
No.